So there is a huge meta shift or change in direction on its way to Warframe with the Abyss of Dagath update, a redefining of it I guess, or to put it more bluntly, a buff to 95% of the Warframe community who never really cared about the absolute min-maxing of shield gating. Changes to how tanky your shields are, how their values will scale as you level Warframes, how much of a window of invulnerability you will have when those shields break, and the removal of that dragon key that has become such a signature part of the current high-level shield gating meta. Hildryn is definitely leaving a snail trail across the star chart with excitement at these proposed changes. Now today, we're going to take a look at the upcoming changes to shield gating in Warframe coming with the Abyss of Dagath update. Dev Workshop is linked in the description of this video, and another video by a friend who goes over these changes in a much finer detail. So, the current shield paradox. Now, Warframe has always presented numerous ways to enhance your survivability, whether it's ramping up your health and armor values or utilizing mods and abilities for damage resistance. However, when it comes to shields, the current meta encourages reducing your shield values to activate the shield gating mechanics, with players being rewarded for having the least amount of shields. So the devs are now taking steps to incentivize players to boost their shield stats, but also keep shield gating and how it activates depending on your shield values at the time of that shield break. So, buffing up shields. The first approach to addressing this issue is by buffing your shields overall. The resistance offered by shields against all damage types will be amped up from 25% to a whopping 50%, so they've doubled your shield's effective damage resistance. Tankier frames across the board. Additionally, certain shield-specific mods are getting rebuffed with a focus on recharge rate. As an example, the mod Fast Deflection will now feature a 45% shield recharge delay. The mod Fortitude's shield recharge value is bumped up to plus 100%, and Vigilante Vigor gets a minus 30% shield recharge delay. So more shield mitigation and faster recharge is what they want, which is really good. That's the main buffing done for your shields. But on top of this, they are also changing the base and final modding stats for all Warframes with mods like Redirection, Vitality and Flow, which is giving a lot of Warframes much larger values when they hit level 30. A lot of Warframes are gaining anything from 70 to 200 extra shields with these changes, which of course will mean a higher possibility of a longer duration of invulnerability on Warframes when those shields break. So, the reworking of the shield gating mechanic, the big one. Shield gating is a game mechanic aimed at stopping pesky one-shot deaths, which used to be a major issue in Warframe before it was added in 2020, especially in high-level play. And while this has been successful, devstreams have said that it led to an unexpected gameplay pattern where players found it more beneficial to maintain a minimal shield value coupled with a rapid shield recharge rate to fully exploit the full shield break feature. Smaller shield amounts led to a constant fully recharged shield being broke each time, which in turn gave you that full 1.3 seconds of invulnerability, but this was with the help of course of that decay and dragon key equipped in your inventory. So they want to refine this mechanic, encouraging gameplay where higher shield values are more rewarding. The essence of that gating mechanic remains the same. On losing all of your shields, you will earn a brief invulnerability phase. However, the length of this invulnerability phase will now depend on your shield amount at the time of your shield breaking. Previously, a full shield break granted you a fixed 1.3 seconds of invulnerability. 1.3, that's as much as we get right now, no longer, before the update. With the Abyss of Dagath update, the invulnerability duration will range from anything from 0.33 seconds at minimum to 2.5 seconds capped, with 1150 shields at maximum based on your modded shield values. So 2.5 seconds with 1150 shield is the most you will get when it comes to that window of invulnerability. More shield values won't mean more seconds of invulnerability. If you could get 2000 shields, that would still only give you 2.5 seconds of invulnerability. And of course, overshield doesn't count, just your modded shields. To get the original 1.3 seconds of shield gating, which we have right now before the update, you would need to break about 325 shields recharged at that breakpoint, which you can see on the graph on screen right now as it goes up linear until it hits maximum. In the earlier setup, a shield break with partially regenerated shields gave you a brief 0.33 second shield gating. That's if your shield wasn't fully recharged. That's what we get right now. The new system will apply scaling values to partially depleted shields, so your new window of invulnerability will depend on how much shield is recharged. For example, with a max shield capacity of 1200, if your shield was to break at 350, you would enjoy roughly 1.3 seconds of shield gating, not the 0.33 that you had before. But if your shield was recharging and it was below that 350, then of course your window of invulnerability would be lower. Or if it was higher than that 350, then of course your window of invulnerability, the duration would be more. You get the idea. The revamped shield gating apparently is designed to make higher shield values, faster regeneration more rewarding, but when you add in arcanes for shield recharge along with the new changes to mods and the changes to shield scaling values, we should have much tankier warframes with larger windows of invulnerability, not to mention the changes that are coming to companions. We don't know how they're going to affect all of this as well, so that's how it's supposed to work in theory, right? You get the idea. Now, updates to the Decaying Dragon Key. Now, with the changes to shield gating, Decaying Dragon Keys are also getting updated to debuff both your shields and your shield gating values, capping your shield gate at 0.33 seconds maximum. So if you still have a Decaying Dragon Key in your inventory wheel, then you are only ever going to get 0.33 seconds of that window of invulnerability. Why does it always have to be 33 seconds? Can I just, like, DE? Why do you always have to give me this feckin' number? Like, do you know how much I struggle over this? I may as well just walk out and just trip on my face every time I have to say this. It's so... So, Decaying Dragon Keys are going back to what they were supposed to be, with their original purpose of raising the difficulty bar when you have one equipped. So, Decaying Dragon Keys, while being used in a very intuitive way before this update by the player base to bump shield gating up, they are a feature that was added long before shield gating in 2020. And because of the changes with this upcoming update, they have removed Decaying Dragon Keys as an option for shield gating. But if you want to have the same experience with lower shield values and a set amount of a window of invulnerability, then they have added a new mod called Catalyzing Shields. It is a corrupted mod that will reduce your maximum shields by 80%, but it will tweak the shield gating values, ensuring that you get a guaranteed 1.33 seconds of shield gating upon your full shield depletion when it breaks. Now, this mod will be available via Orokin Vaults on Deimos, with a special alert running for a week after the Abyss of Dagat update's release in order to allow players to get their hands on it quicker. So it is kind of a trade-off mod where you'll have to sacrifice something in your current build if you want to equip it. Now, other noteworthy updates. Like I said, they are changing how certain mods will now scale with warframes as they level, and the end result will be higher shield values across the board for all warframes. But besides these major changes, Hildren's passive is getting a slight buff, extending the shield gating duration from 3 seconds for Hildren to 3.5. So Hildren is going to benefit from these changes in a massive way, especially considering that she's now going to have double, I guess, the damage mitigation on her shields than she had before. Now, as the Abyss of Dagat update rolls in, these changes are bound to mark, I guess, a new era in the shield mechanics within Warframe, and there is a lot, and I mean a lot, to unpack and experiment with once these changes hit the server. And I'm sure the guys who do all the math, which isn't me, will of course have new builds and new setups within a week of this update hitting. The shield gating rework, along with other tweaks, are set to reshape, I guess, how you perceive or utilize shields in Warframe. But please let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below, whether you like the sound of these changes or not. For the most part, the community seems to be really happy with these changes, with the exception of maybe the players who have kind of gotten used to using that Decaying Dragon Key and are now going to have to, I guess, rework a lot of their multi-format builds to fit that new mod in, or fit some of the shield recharge mods in if they want to, I guess, benefit from this new system. But like I said, let me know in the comment section below, and as always, thanks for watching.